All right, good morning, everybody. Um, so I wanted to do a video on Kalkwasser, and I have made an attempt at Kalkwasser prior to this. So when I had the tank set up for, I bought the Avast Marine K1 caulk stir. I didn't like it because, well, several reasons. To me, it was messy, having to clean it out. I had to run a line for another RO container. Um, it wasn't for my tank. It wasn't. I couldn't do away with two part because my alkalinity and calcium levels. I couldn't get them to line up with the levels that I wanted for each. So if I was trying to maintain an 8.3 to 8.5 alkalinity, then my calcium I wanted, between 420 and 450, and for whatever reason my calcium would dart way up. It would hit like 480, 490. It even hit 500. So I kept, I kept thinking, well, maybe this isn't the way to go. If I'm going to have to, if it's bumping my calcium up too much, then I'm going to have to scale it back and still dose some alkalinity. So I thought it at the time, it wasn't worth it, and I just went back to two part. Well, all the latest rave and all these videos I'm watching, everybody's talking about Kalkwasser, and I do have a pH problem. So I'm just trying new things to chase the pH number, I guess. My before the tank reboot, my pH would run at a 7.8 for the low and an 8.0 for the high. I might get a little bit over 8, but that was it. Now, I have always run an outside line to the skimmer. I have that hooked up and it goes outside. So I'm already doing that. Even this morning, well, I opened the front door. I'm sorry for all the glare and stuff. I opened the front door just because the aquarium lights hadn't come on yet. But sometimes, when it's nice in the mornings, I would open up the door just to let fresh air in here. I really, I can leave it open for a few hours and I really don't see much of a pH increase from that. Maybe like 0.1 or 0.2. So not much of an increase. So I'm not, I've just never been able to really get the ideal pH on this tank since I've had it. Since the reboot, I'm not sure what's different. I know what's different. I switched out the rock for a new rock and a different type of rock than I was using. But since the reboot, my pH ranges from 7.65 for the low, and the high is 7 point, pretty much 7.8. So since I did the reboot, my pH is even lower than it used to be. I'm not sure, what actually is causing that. The only thing I can think of, before I had the Marco's dry rock in the tank, and now I'm using the Carib Sea, what is it called? Real Reef or whatever it is, the purple painted rock. I'm not sure if that dropped the pH some more or not. I put new sand in it as well. And I used the Carib Sea Ocean Direct. I'm not, like I said, I'm just not sure why the pH has gone even lower, because I've continued running the outside fresh air line to the skimmer, and I just haven't seen any, increase in it at all. So now I'm jumping on the bandwagon, I guess, and I'm trying this Kalkwasser stuff again. But I'm just doing it different. I'm not going to use my caulk stir. I watched some videos, and the big thing is the caulk slurries now. I don't feel comfortable enough to do that yet. I don't really want to try it. I really just want to start off slow and see what happens. So basically what I'm doing is I have just a gallon jug for now, and I've mixed up the fully saturated Kalkwasser solution. So 1 gallon RODI water. I'm using the bulk reef supply pharma grade Kalkwasser. It says you can get complete saturation up to 2 teaspoons, but I'm using 1.5 teaspoons just to make sure that it's fully saturated right now. Like I said, this is kind of just experimenting and testing. I may change that. I may bump it up to 2, see what happens. So right now, I'm dosing that fully saturated Kalkwasser mix. I have it set up on the Apex. I have it set to dose, was it 7,000 something milliliters, which, you know, roughly is a gallon per day. And then I have, under the advanced settings, I put the exceptions in there that if the pH goes over 8.29, you know, to stop. And then I also created another rule or exception in there. I've always, and just going off topic a little bit, well, kind of in topic, but everybody knows how I ramble. I've always tried to keep my alkalinity around 8.5. Well, I won't say always, the latest thing I've tried to do. Well, all the videos I've been watching, you know, Chris that was on Reef Dudes from ACI Aquaculture. He's super big in the Kalkwasser stuff, and after watching Reef Dudes is when I kind of started setting this up to try it. But the thing is that he said, you know, you shouldn't, this is his opinion, he said in his opinion in testing, you shouldn't really chase alkalinity as much as you should pH. Now I know that's against like everything kind of taught over the years. I apologize for my daughter walking around. You know, everybody wants to keep a constant alkalinity. He says alkalinity swings are fine. They occur in the ocean, lagoons, different places like that. So, you know, him being a coral farm, I do put a lot of stock in what he says, and I believe him. So while I figured now's the time to do it, while I've only got, you know, a few frags in the tank, test all this stuff, kind of see how they react, see how they do, and then if I like it, then I can continue doing it when I add more frags and corals, or if I don't, I can always just revert back to how I was doing it. So he talked about that his alkalinity at times would jump up to 12 or 13 even. And he said that he never saw any ill effects on any of his corals or acroporas or anything. So I'm just basically, I put an exception or rule in there that if alkalinity is greater than 12 to stop dosing as well. So since I've been doing, I just started this this past weekend. Since I've been doing this, my pH has started to rise. Now, I think I'm dosing kind of slow because he recommends you dose the full amount that your tank is evaporating. So if your tank's evaporating 2 gallons a day, you want to use those 2 gallons of this saturated Kalkwasser. I'm not exactly sure how many gallons per day my tank is evaporating. I figured I would start with a gallon and see if my auto top off runs any, because I have it hooked up to a RODI, basically a 60 gallon drum, and it just constantly refills that with RODI water. So I'm not sure exactly how much evaporation I have and how much ROD water, DI water is going into the tank. So I'm gonna have to experiment it and play with it a little bit. But I will work on that and try to figure that out. And like I said, I'm gonna make adjustments. But anyway, my pH has come up some. So it is currently, this morning is 8.1, and the low last night was 7.9. So it has, since Sunday, so this is Tuesday, it is moving up. It's still not where I want it to be, so I know I'm gonna have to make some more adjustments to how I'm doing it. But like I said, it's something that I'm experimenting with, and I'm gonna try to, figure it out and see if I can hit that, what's considered by most the magic pH number, 8.3. I think he had said, that natural seawater used to be a consistent pH of 8.3 across the board, with all the things going on in the world. I think he said that, he read some information that it's like 8.25 now, but my goal is to try to hit that pH of 8.3, and I'm going to try to use Kalkwasser to do it, because I don't know of another method. I'm already got an outside air line. I could use that CO2 scrubbing media in line with it. Some people say you still need that even though you're running outside air, because there's some CO2 outside as well, and if somebody's burning something or whatever, different situations or circumstances outside may affect it. If I can't fool with this and get the pH where I want, then I may try adding that. I was trying to stay away from it, because that's just one more thing that I'm gonna have to, another media I'm gonna have to change out, and then another expense. So I'm trying to keep away from doing that, but if I have to, then I will. So anyway, that's basically this video. Let me know your thoughts on Kalkwasser. Like I said, real quick, I'm just using the bulk reef supply. He recommended, was it Reef Blueprint or something like that brand, and he says on there where you can buy it from if you want to go that route. It's supposed to be like the higher level, I think, purity and concentration. So you can always buy that if you want. I think it was just more expensive. So I think, the BRS, it being pharmaceutical grade, I know it still may have some minor pollutants in it, but I think overall should be pretty good. So I'm gonna keep running that for now. But anyway, let me know thoughts on Kalkwasser and who else is doing that, and any kind of pH ideas. I've made sure that my pH probe for the Apex is calibrated. I also use the Hanna pH probe, and they always match up together. And I do have a manual test kit, Hanna test kit for pH, and I don't do that often, but periodically, I'll check it just to make sure that my probe is reading fairly accurately. So anyway, I feel like the pH numbers are accurate on the tank. I still don't understand really why I'm having such a hard time, or why it's dipped down lower since doing the reboot. But there's something in the tank causing that, or I don't know if we just have a ton of carbon dioxide in our house. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you get something out of the videos. And let me know any questions that you might have, or any comments. Let me know any experiences you have with Kalkwasser. Thanks again.